What up, family? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to my writer's life. This is episode 2, and today's diary is on writing and anger, my origin story. I'm reading an essay or a blog post it's Brevity, and it's a WordPress blog. So brevity.wordpress.com. The author's name is Laura Bogart, Bogart, and the essay is titled On Writing and Anger. And I haven't gotten through it. I'm only like 3 pages in because I've been crying so much while reading it, and writing a lot. Like it's bringing up all of these things. And one of the the blog post is a conversation. It's an interview with Laura Bogart. I'm trying to find who's interviewing her. It's a conversation between Laura Bogart and managing editor of Brevity, Sarah Einstein. And yeah, I haven't gotten through the essay because it's really fucking me up in the most beautiful ways. One of the things that Einstein asks Laura Bogart is, she says, I find it really lovely that this reoccurrence of like a traumatic event, right? Go read it. She finds it really lovely that this reoccurrence establishes a kind of intimacy with the reader as they experience her work, her body of work. She continues, we start to know some things about you the way we know our friends' most important stories. Each time I encounter this moment in your work, it retains its power and its meaningfulness because of the artfulness with which you write into each new piece. She was referring to a specific event that Laura Bogart writes and how it shows up in other pieces of work that she creates, whether it be fiction, nonfiction, whatever. And so it made me think about some touchstone moments, some key moments in my life. The first thing that Laura Bogart says, or her response, she thanks her, and then she says, that moment is unquestionably the hardest moment of my life and the most difficult memory I've ever set down in words. It's the moment I'd written in and out of so many different essays until I finally accepted that this moment was, for better or worse, my great origin story. I stopped reading the essay after that. Because it made me think about, it shifted some things. It made me, it shook me. It definitely made me cry to think about my origin story. My origin story being the moment that gives birth to something. It could be the moment where you lost your innocence. It could be the moment where you, I don't know, some crazy change in your life, right? It doesn't have to be something traumatic and dark. It could be when you got married and you found your partner, or you moved, or you changed schools, or a 4th grade teacher offended you. It could be your origin story is that thing that sets things in motion. And so it made me, like, straight up, I was sitting at a bar last night. I was writing and writing and writing, and I could feel the gates open, and I was reading the interview and writing at the same time and coming back, and it was triggering me. It was feeding me in some really beautiful and painful ways. But when I got to that part, I stopped writing. I didn't want to write anymore. And this shit happens. That shit is real, you know. If it gets too close, you're like, you know that the fire's gonna be hot. You go near it and you feel the heat and you fucking push back because you're like, I'm not trying to get burned. That's what that feels like. You feel like you're really close. You're on to something and you have two choices to make. You can either run and say, fuck it, I'm not gonna deal with this. I'm gonna spend another 20 years not dealing with this. I want to spend another 40 years not dealing with this. I'm not gonna look at this. I'm not gonna write about this. I'm not gonna explore it. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel the pain. That's fine. You could do that. Or you could say, fuck it. I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna surrender to this process. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna get it on the page. I'm gonna get it out of my body, because if I don't get it out of my body, it'll kill me, and it hurts, and it's true, and this really did happen, and this is my experience, and I'm not gonna worry about what they say. I know they're gonna say something that's real, but I'm still gonna write it anyway. I'm still gonna tell my story anyway, because I know that it will liberate me, that it will free me, that it will empower me, that shit, you may not heal, but it will not hurt us to get it down on the page. And so, yeah, I'm going to finish this interview, this beautiful interview on anger and writing. And I'm going to write, and I'm going to allow for whatever wants to rise, and I'm going to purge it. I'm going to vomit all over the page, because it's an illness in my body. When I think about anger, and I think about rage, and I think about my origin story rooted in anger and rage, it's painful. And there's something there. If it's hurting me, it's because there's something there. If it's hurting me, it's because it's not done with me, and I'm not done with it. And so I'm getting back in bed with anger and rage, and I'm gonna relive some things that I thought I was done with, that I thought I had healed from. Yeah, I think that was one of the, as I was writing yesterday, it was one of the epiphanies that I had around wanting so desperately to write my healing story, to have jumped to healing without the feeling part, without the reliving part. And so we come back, and I begin again, and I'm gonna write the shit out of this project. I don't even know what to call it yet, because I know that it's a series of things, or maybe it's one thing. I don't know. I'm not gonna limit myself. I'm just going to write. I'm just going to allow what wants to be born at this point in my life to be born. And yeah, that's my writer's life, my journey for this morning. It's scary as hell, yo. It's scary. It's scary to go into those dark spaces sometimes, but we don't have to do it alone. I think that's one of the things that I'm loving about shifting focus in my podcast and it being about my writer's life, because there's nothing I enjoy more than co-creating with writers and artists, and kind of bouncing ideas off and sharing some of the things that I'm working on, and having you tell me maybe what you're working on and share that with me. And in that way, we can inspire and push each other to finish a thing, complete a work. But more than that, trust that we can do this, and that we're not alone, and that there's someone like me out here sharing her writer's life, but rooting for you and yours. So let's do this. I'm gonna write right now. Yay, I'm gonna write 1 Pomodoro, 25 minutes. A Pomodoro. So a Pomodoro is a time management technique. Let's introduce that shit right off the top, because we're gonna be spending a lot of time doing Pomodoros during this next writer's life journey. This is like the new meditation. We set a timer for 25 minutes and we work for that 25 minutes, no interruptions, no phones, no nothing. It's your inner work, no disruptions at all. Timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break. Second Pomodoro, 25 minutes. You do this in like 4 rounds, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, done. You've done 4 Pomodoros in 2 hours, and you will be surprised at the shit you get done. I promise you, Pomodoros will change your life. Trust and believe that. My intention for today is to do 1 Pomodoro. That's it. 1 Pomodoro, pen on the page, punto. That's it. All right, family. Actually, that's not really a good intention. My intention for today is to not be afraid of the anger that's rising, to not push it away, to use all of it in what I'm writing. Much better intention. Have a beautiful day. Peace.